see what I... Uh-oh. Okay, let's get this back real quick. Okay. All the fun we're having here. Okay, so I'm Joan, and welcome to the 5-day Learn to Read Music Challenge. So glad all of you could join me today for this live. If you haven't already, type in the chat box where you're joining me from. And if you're catching this on replay, just type in #replay. So let's just dive right into day 2. Now we're going to go ahead and review what we learned yesterday. Yesterday we learned how to sit at a piano. You don't want the bench too close to the keyboard, neither do you want it too far away. You want it a good, comfortable distance from the keyboard. You want to sit with your back straight, and your shoulders need to be relaxed, and your arms need to hang loosely from your shoulders. Your wrists need to be just above the keys, and your fingers need to be rounded, like you have a ball or something that you're holding and playing. So your feet need to be flat on the floor, with your right foot slightly forward towards the damper pedal. So all that being said, we had our finger numbers, and our thumbs are our 1s, our indexes are our 2s, our middle fingers are our 3s, ring fingers are our 4s, and pinkies are the 5s. And the keyboard is made up of black and white keys, as you can see right here. And they are grouped into, the black keys are grouped into groups of 2 and 3, 2 and 3, all the way up and down the keyboard. This helps us to be able to locate the notes. The easiest way to find A is to find middle C. So if you take your 2 and 3 of your right hand, and you locate the group of 2 black notes closest to the middle of the keyboard and play those. Now with your 2, you want to slide to your left. Okay, that's middle C. Now what comes before C? A, B, C, A, B, so B. And then what comes before B? A. Okay, so then we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then it just repeats A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then of course, right now we're playing in the C position. So you take your 2 and 3 of your right hand, locate middle C again, and you're going to put your 1 on C, your 2 on D, 3 on E, 4 on F, and 5 on G. You could do the same thing with your left hand, and you find the C position, but you put your 5 on C, 4 on D, 3 on E, 2 on F, and 1 on G. So that's C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so now we're going to move into day 2 of the Learn to Read Music Challenge. We are learning note types today, so you can kind of see this right here, note types. We're going to focus on whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes all this week. A whole note gets 4 counts, and a half note gets 2 counts, and a quarter note gets 1 count. So a whole note, I'm going to go ahead and move over here. A whole note looks like this right here, and a whole note gets 4 counts. Now a whole note does not have a stem going up or down, and it gets 4 counts. are 4 beats. Now, a half note, right here, as it's like its name implies, it's half of a whole. So here's a whole note. It takes up 4 whole beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a half note gets half of those beats, so it only gets 2 beats. So 1, 2. And then we've got this quarter note over here, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. So we've got a whole note that gets 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a half note that gets 2 beats, and then we've got a quarter note that gets 1 beat. A whole note, like I said earlier, never has a stem, so it never has a line going up or down. Quarter notes and half notes do have stems, and they can be on either side of the stem going up or down, depending on which clef you're playing in, which staff rather, that you're playing in. So a whole note right here gets 4 beats, a half note gets 2 beats, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. So let me go ahead and set this down. Go 4, 4 right here. We're going to be looking at 4/4 time signature today. Now when you're reading music, you will see 4/4 time signature just right after the staff and all that. You'll see it right beside the treble staff and the bass staff. If you look in your workbook at the rhythm card, I don't know if you can see this. Right there is your 4/4 time signature. So what that really means, there's more time signatures other than 4/4. There's 2/4 and 6/8 and 3/4 and all different types of time signatures. But for the most part, the beginner pianist is only going to be focusing on 4/4 time signature. What that really means is that there are 4 beats per measure, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. So 4 beats per measure, a quarter note gets 1 beat. Now back to what we were discussing earlier, the whole note. In 4/4 time signature, a whole note, especially if you're dealing with these measures here, a measure, we've got the 4/4 time signature right here. See where this line is? This is called a measure bar. So between here and here is one measure. Here and here is another measure. Here and here is another measure, and here is another measure. Now that seems pretty simple, but back to what we were saying, a whole note would take up the whole measure, because why? A whole note takes up 4 beats. So a whole note would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to fill in measure with half notes, you would put 2 half notes for a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes, you would have to use 4 quarter notes to fill 1 measure. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course a whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so enough of all of that. If you look, let's see. Okay, one more thing before we go on. The top 4 in this 4/4 time signature, this top 4 means that there are 4 beats per measure. Anytime you're looking at a time signature like 4/4, the top number right here is going to tell you how many beats are in that measure. This bottom 4 right here is going to tell you, for instance, a quarter note gets 1 beat. It's usually going to tell you what a quarter note gets, like 3/4. There's 3 beats per measure, and a quarter note still gets 1 beat. So, if you look in your workbook, I've included this rhythm card. Now, if you look at it and look at this one here, let's see here. Here we go. I wish I could make it bigger. Okay, so if you look at this one here, let me go ahead and turn this camera off so we can make it bigger. Okay, here we go. So in this rhythm card, we have 4/4 time signature. See it right there? 4/4 time signature. So that means there's 4 beats per measure, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. So the first measure is 4 quarter notes. And go ahead and set this right here. Oh, that's still not. Okay, so there's 4 quarter notes in the first measure. The second measure has 2 half notes. That's still 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. The third measure has got 2 quarter notes and a half note. And then we have our whole note. Okay, the next line down is a quarter note, a half note, and a quarter note. Is that still 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. And then we've got a whole note right here. The next measure is 4 quarter notes. And then the last measure is a whole note. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down. Let's go ahead and clap the beats of this rhythm card. So we've got 4 quarter notes here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've got 2 half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've got 2 quarter notes and a half note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got a quarter note, a half note, a quarter note, a whole note. Then we've got 4 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got a whole note, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if I can. So let's go ahead and clap it, and what we'll do is we will clap it and we will go over, we'll say the names of the notes. So it's quarter, 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 half note, quarter, quarter, half note, hold that whole note. Then it's quarter, half note, quarter, hold that whole note, quarter, 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 hold that whole note. So you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let me go ahead and turn this back on. Put this back here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over a very familiar song to implement what we have just learned. I think everybody knows the song Mary Had a Little Lamb. So let's look at it very closely. It's in 4/4 time signature, so it's Mary had a little lamb, little lamb. So it kind of goes like that. It's a 4/4 time signature, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, Mary Had a Little Lamb is made up of quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. Now, I played that through a little fast, so let's slow it down a bit. And let's go through and figure out what type of notes are where. So, there's 4 beats per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What type of notes are those? Those are quarter notes. So the first measure is quarter, 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 quarter. Now the next measure, quarter, quarter, half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, let's see. We've got quarter, 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 half note, quarter, quarter, half note, quarter, quarter, half note, quarter, 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 half note, quarter, 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 hold that whole note. So it's a very simple song, and a lot of people just play. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. If you want to play like that, that's cool. But to give the song some structure, I wanted you to know, it's made of quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. So those are, the very beginning. Now, in your workbook, in the 5-day challenge workbook, I want you to get that workbook out and go to the page that is Mary Had a Little Lamb. The thing is blank, and all you can see are measure lines. So you have measure lines on the staff. I'm not expecting you to write the music. If you know the music, that's fine. But I want you to go through, and I want you to mark in those measures. You could put quarter, 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 half note, quarter, quarter, half note, quarter, quarter, half note. There's also a few pages, I think it's in tomorrow's section of the workbook. I have it actually written out. So that may give you a guide, so you can kind of look at that and say, okay, that's how it looks. So let's go ahead and let's kind of recap today. We have note types, which are quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. Whole notes have no stems at all. They're just whole notes. And you hold them down for 4 beats or for 4 counts. A half note gets half of that, and it's just a half note. It has a stem that goes up or down. It's not filled in at all, and that gets 2 counts. Now, a quarter note is a note that has a stem going up or down, depending on which staff you're playing in, and it is completely filled in, and that gets 1 beat. And we went over 4/4 time signature. That means that there are 4 beats per measure, and each quarter note gets 1 beat. So you have, for each measure, a whole note would fill the entire measure with all 4 beats. A half note, it would take 2 half notes to fill that measure because a half note gets 2 beats. And then to fill that measure, you would need 4 quarter notes. So quarter, 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 quarter. 4 quarter notes to fill one measure. So we went over our little rhythm card, and then we wrote out the types of notes to Mary Had a Little Lamb. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to questions. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, just type them into the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Any questions at all? My computer's acting crazy. Okay, so I typed into the chat a link to my online piano studio. Feel free to browse my courses. Also, I have a 25% discount for this week only of all of my paid online courses. If it does not automate for whatever reason, the promo code for that course, for all those courses, is challenge. So don't forget to look there. I have some free lessons posted onto my piano studio as well. So let's go ahead and answer some questions here. Okay.